What's up, gang? I feel like there's some gang. We got gang in here. Brightside gang. I mean, that's all I see right now, but you know, hey. Oh shit, he ain't even there. He was here. He came in just to say first and then dipped.
I'm gonna say I feel like this first stuff is gonna have to stop counting if we're not actually live yet, but I'll let you guys
I'm
decide
gonna
that among yourselves.
I'm gonna revoke the first accolade if you say first and then you're not actually here when we're live.
That seems fair. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him know when he returns because he does dip in and out, and when he pops back in, I'm gonna be like, bro, I'm sorry, new rules.
That's something I should be able to build into the Grove Tender. I feel like actual like first tracker, and we could like put it up on the screen who was actually first today. They could like fight for it. Oh yeah, we should.
That's a great idea.
I got a lot of Grove Tender ideas for after we finish Dread. So
yeah, I guess I'll say it now because no one's here. I don't think we're gonna make it, but that's okay. We're gonna keep working on Dread, and it's gonna be great.
oh, I think we created the foundation for something really awesome. So
there we go. Boom. The kitty cat is in the
Boom's
chat.
actually at first. There you go.
Thank you, Boom. Yeah,
Congratulations, Boom.
Yep, you got
You
first.
earned it.
We had some fake firsts in chat, typing first way before we went live, and they're not even here. So Boom is actual first today. Good shit. Yeah, exactly. You didn't even have to type it. You got first.
But we'll let them know. Don't you worry.
They're gonna get corrected when they show up and say I got first because no, they didn't. Yes, exactly. Actual first got good. So Boom. Yeah, we're not gonna make the feature complete deadline, but we also changed scope and we got out of control. We're making some really cool shit that we're very excited about. So we're gonna keep working on Dread for a little bit. Hyperskate is not done.
While Boom's here, I'll
still...
show the material too, because I know Boom will actually appreciate it.
Accurate. Yeah, Hyperskate is not done. I feel like my gut tells me by the end of November we'll have Dread up in the store. That's where I think we're at. Core Tech is all in. Everything is working. We started content authoring. Oh yeah, sorry. Brightside revoked. Nope, revoked. You weren't here, bro. I was looking in chat. You said first, and then you weren't actually here.
We're making a new rule.
Was in the chat, actually here. Yeah, you got revoked, dude. If you want actual first, oh shit, Tony, that's so fucking good. Oh my god, I didn't see the finished one, man. I only saw the ones that you were like in progress. Oh, that's
well, then I got
good.
more than this too, though. But we can do like line thickness. We got smoothness of the lines up here.
Oh,
we got
man, this is so good.
We could do like Voronoi colors on the inner cells. We could do like, you know, if we wanted the borders to be like yellow or something, for example, we could go ahead.
Yeah, can you do,
you know,
it's
got a lot of stuff.
So the outer outlines, yeah, can you make like the inner outlines gold? The outer outlines should stay white. Do you know what I mean? Like the little smaller ones, the cells within the cells. Can you make those yellow, or is it like all of them are yellow?
No, I'd have each layer I can do inside and outside color. Yeah. So
yes, I think that's it. I really think that's it. That's what has been in my head. That's looking fucking good. And then, you know, some undulation, a little bit of
the movement and stuff is going to come next. The other one that I have here too that I'm still trying to figure out, kind of just based on the thing that we've been looking at, is like this one is like radialized. So this one like grows out of the middle, and I think it's like some form of this. It's not.
I love that too.
This is still kind of like an experiment, but like if I do like cell scale now, we kind of get like the zoom, which is what we want. It doesn't go infinite though. Like that's as far as I'm gonna be able to go. Good. But we can go like that, and then of course we have the same thing in each of the cells as well. So that feels closer to the pieces, and then I have control over like what the scaling actually is, and you know, a lot of stuff like that. So this is feeling closer to what it actually will end up being for sure.
Okay, I gotta interrupt you, Tony. Boom, get your fork and your camera out. The spaghetti is coming. Boom is asking questions.
So let me kind of show you. There's a video I posted. I think I posted it in our server. Let me double check just so you can reference it if you care. Nope, but hold on, let me get it. Okay, I posted in the game dev channel in our server. It is the video with the garlic and the stuff that I've shown on the stream quite a few times now at this point. But he walks you through how to make your own, and then he has this follow-up video right here where he shows you how to take what you made and do other stuff to it. And so I kind of followed that and then changed it. But the idea is, just go in here. It's a lot of stuff, and I've tried to break everything out into like named reroutes and stuff to make it a little easier to follow. But we kind of just take like absolute world position coordinates, and I have this Voronoi function here that is basically making a grid of 9 cells, and then it can get multiplied so that there's like a lot more cells than just 9. But the idea is that it's 9 cells, and they're comparing against the cells next to each other, the distance from the center to the center, and that's what's happening in this material function here. So I'm getting the cell data of each of the cells, and then it ultimately is doing like a max between each of them all the way down, and then it takes all those maxes, and that is doing mins against all of those, and then that kind of gives us the output of each of the cells. That's a very basic example of how all of it works, but ultimately I've built all of this modular in such a way that like this kind of top level Voronoi function takes in a set of coordinates, which are just like UVs, and then can do everything from that. And so in the parent material here, I make like my top one here with my initial world position coordinates, and then this cell color here is basically the position of each of the cells, and then I can take that and do some stuff to it here against the original coordinates to get a second layer of coordinates, and then I can feed those into that same function. And so now everything that's going into that
this is turbo.
It's kind of like UV'd into each of these cells, and then you can just like kind of repeat that over and over. So there's like a third layer where these cells are inside these cells, which are inside these cells.
Yeah, this is turbo spaghetti. Like,
no, yeah, this thing is nasty, and if I change something and I hit save, it legitimately is like 5 minutes until I can use Unreal again. And that's why I have the material instances set up that I was showing you with, because once it's in here, I can change these values, fairly instantly and smoothly and nicely, and it'll work. But it has to compile the shaders basically every time I make a change. So it's made it a little difficult to work on for sure, but just because every time I change something I have to wait quite a while before I can see if it worked or not. But yeah, I was talking to Adder about it, and he was like, that sounds like the shader that we have that is used on every single thing in the entire game. And I'm like, yeah, this is like an experimental like cool thing we're going to put on a box and in a TV, and I haven't actually used it in the game yet at all. But
wait Brightside, it's doing you dirty. You have a way longer than 5 stream streak. What the fuck is that, bro? It said I have a 5 stream streak too.
I would assume most of our, people who are around a lot have way more than 5.
I'm literally here every single day on my personal, and it's like, oh, you got a 5 stream streak, dog. How could you fuck me like this?
Say this?
Or
something?
Yeah, are you on Wallfacer? Go check Wallfacer, and then look.
Yeah, doesn't say anything. And of course, I'm always on this. I don't go on main. That's crazy. Huh. Anyways, yeah,
my bad.
So that's my Voronoi setup right now. I'm still trying to figure out. We're definitely trying to go for some sort of kind of like infinite zoom type thing, which is clearly not possible with the way I have the setup right now. It's just 3 layers, and it's not like infinitely recurring, and it's already very spicy. So I don't know if it would even be possible technically to make it do like exactly an infinite thing. So I think I have to just try to figure out a way to like either loop it or just make something long enough that like somebody maybe wouldn't stare at it that long, or we figure out a good way to transition. But you know, here's the inspo again. So we're kind of trying to like, I don't know, if you look at this, I've stared at this thing for so long that I think there's like a ring here, right? And this is where the actual like emission is kind of coming from. If you watch, like it all grows out of like not exactly the center, because there's like a ring and it's growing towards the center in some cases from like some points here, and so it's growing out, and then like as it expands, eventually it subdivides, and that's kind of what I'm going for. So I have to figure out some way, I think, to know the size of each of these cells, and if they are over like a certain value, to like give them like a random chance to like show the layer inside of them or something like that. Or I was thinking maybe like the edges have like a random chance to appear or not appear or something, because I wouldn't want every single line, of course, but it would be cool to get some of them. So I don't know, still experimenting, definitely getting close.
Anna in chat, what a day.
Oh shit,
it's amazing. We got Anna.
Anna in a while. What's up?
I was thinking about you, Anna. I'm glad you're back. I don't know if you were around for the Dread stuff when we were talking about it, but it's lovely having you here. The 18 months, amazing. Thank you, Anna. So yeah, for October we've been working on a liminal space walking sim psychological horror game called Dread. Tony's showing off so this is basically going to be the antagonist, right? We've got a fractal that's going to appear at different moments in the game, this Voronoi noise transformed thing. Tony has been working on this thing he's been working on a bunch of different parts of the game, but this shader, he's the only one on the team that really knows how to do visual effects at all. So he's been in here cooking this thing up, and it's super crazy complicated, but very cool. I love it, Tony. I think this is it, dude. You got it. It's
reminding me of when I figured out the neighbor grid stuff. Like I learned a lot about Niagara and how like Niagara kind of works like shaders. So I felt like I kind of started understanding how like shaders work a little bit. And this has really upped that understanding again in some ways. So it's been fun. What did I tell you like a month ago when I went to that Tipper show? I was like, I want to learn how to make shaders. So,
yeah, there you go, dude. The interesting thing to me is that like we're called Fractal Grove, and fractals are like very much a part of this whole game, not just in the Voronoi noise thing, but with the environment design and this like concept too. Like the neighborhood is a fractal, the fucking forest is a fractal. Like it's just
it feels really on the nose, but it like wasn't even intentional. It's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't know. I think the reason that we named the company this is just because I think we find the concept so interesting. So
yeah, Tony's got some very cool shit that he's cooked up, and it's all just in service of like, here's the idea of what we're trying to build and how we're making it and all that stuff. So it's great. It's literally like a fractal horror walking simulator.
Oh my god, my fans, stop.
But yeah, I hope you're doing well, Anna. Yeah, how you been? If you want to chat or and tell us how you've been, that'd be awesome. But if not, it's totally cool. We love having you here. Thank you for hanging out. We were aiming to hit feature complete by the end of this week. We're not gonna make it. It's just not gonna happen. But our scope has also ballooned in a very positive way. This is where I told you guys at the beginning when we started doing this that a part of this was a scoping exercise. It always goes this way in games. And when I say it's grown in scope, it's not grown in scope in ways that were like, oh, it'd be neat if we did this. Oh, it'd be neat if we did that. It's like we built something that aligns with the vision, and then we're like, oh fuck, that has to go in. It literally has to go in. The game will be worse without it. So let's do this. And that is the correct way. You want to keep your ideas really tight and small, because then you give it space to like really develop the right thing. So you guys have heard me talk about pillars and all that. Everything that Tony's been building is it's aligned with the pillars. So the cooler the shit is that he makes against these pillars, and, you know, proving these ideas and stuff like that, that's how you get it to go in, and it's a good thing, instead of like just adding a wacky suggestion that, you know, somebody goes, hey, it'd be cool if you did this, and then you just throw it in your game. That's not necessarily the right way to do it. So sorry, I'm responding to Adder. He said he can't make it, but he really wants to see what's going on with the shader. All right, now I got to turn this off so I don't get distracted and I can actually engage with the people who are here. I apologize, guys. Don't mean to be disrespectful. You guys that are here actually get more attention than people who are not actually here. So, you know, there you go. That's the way it works. Let's see. Oh yeah, Anna with the gifted for Brightside. Hell yeah. Thank you, Anna. Yeah, we're doing great, honestly. Dread has been a really fun it's almost I want to say distraction, but I don't mean like that's not doing it justice. Dread's been a really fun exercise, making something that we've never made before, you know, doing a flat game. It's got a different set of constraints that are much easier to work within than VR. You know, that being said, like Boom was saying, how many fucking instructions were in there? 12 instructions in the shader. So we're still making very complicated, crazy things that no one else has made before, but it's in a different space.
Oh yeah, like this level is complicated but fun.
Yeah, Anna, I wrote a whole story. I feel like you're one of the people in the audience that would want to actually hear the story. So depending on how long you can be here today, I'll read some of the story if that's what you want to hear. Or what I would prefer to do if you really want the whole story for Dread, I've already talked about this before. I can do some more editing passes. It's meant for internal consumption right now. There's like grammatical problems and continuity issues and stuff like that that I'm not satisfied with. But it sells the idea of what we're making, you know, start to finish. It's got the whole concept of the game is in there. All the moments are in there. Gives us all a really good anchor for like what type of experience we're building. And that's just a design technique that I prefer to use. I like words. I'm good at words. So, you know, some people do presentations and, you know, get a lot of visual imagery and walk people through like this PowerPoint presentation slide deck and shit like that. I like to write stories, and then I give those to the team and say, hey, read this. Tell me your thoughts. But it's not in this is the weird part, because I'm like, tell me your thoughts. And I don't mean where would you change the story? I want to be like, what does this make you think of? What does this make you feel? You know, do you understand like what the whole vision is? Like that's the context for the story. So, but I think if I could put myself in your guys' shoes, as someone who likes stories, I would probably want to read the story. I'd want to know like what inspired the whole thing. So when we get to feature complete, I can think about that being one of the things that we release as like, you know, for free, just alongside it. So you can see like the story of Dread that inspired the game, all that stuff. I was also thinking about some like marketing materials and stuff, since I took a lot of inspiration from The King in Yellow as a psychological horror concept. I was thinking like maybe we could make a marketing video, like a YouTube video that's like, we made a game with a story that can kill you or something like that, because that's what people describe The King in Yellow as, is the story that kills you if you read it. So that'd be kind of neat. You can post something in Discord if you prefer, and I'll give it a look. Yeah, I mean, whatever form is most adjustable for you, I'm happy to do that. Discord is probably going to be like the first pass that I would dump it in there. I would probably want to make a channel for it, because this thing is, I wonder if there's a word count. Can I get a word count in Notion, Tony? Do you know?
Probably. I'm just like that menu thing in the upper right or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if
you could also like publicize like just that one page too, if you just want to share the link to it.
Well, I've got like notes in there, and I would want to like clean the notes up and shit. So I could move it to a new page and then publish that one page. And when I say one page, it's not a one-page story. There's like 10 little chapter things, chapterettes, and each of them are, 3 to 4 paragraphs. The formatting in Notion's not super great, so they're like a chunk of text like this big at, what is this, like 10-point font. So it's pretty small. But yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be good. So what Tony's showing off right now is so when the player transitions out of the neighborhood, they'll go into the spooky mansion, and when they go through the spooky mansion, they'll transition into this forest space at some point. We haven't decided if that's the very first space they'll come into. We also want to use the pool rooms and stuff like that. So there's another concept for like an observatory or a solarium conservatory type of a space where you've got all these like glass walls and you can like see the sky. And there's a concept for a room like that we want to use as well, in like a liminal space that I got really excited about. I think is a very cool visual. So Tony will probably have to cook up another shader for that. He's got some ideas, thinks that won't be too hard to do. And then a statuary corridor and a cathedral are kind of like the last 2 archetypes we're going to go for. So we're shooting for 20 to 60 minutes of gameplay. I already know we're going to be more than 20. I tuned the neighborhood to be about 7 to 10 minutes of gameplay. I think it's like 8.5 minutes if you're on the golden path, meaning you make no wrong turns. You're just kind of speed running, like exactly where everything is, and you get right to the end. It's still about 8 minutes. So if you're naturally exploring it for the first time, it could be, literally infinite if you keep making wrong choices and resetting the path. Yeah. And it says end of semester exams this weekend. After it's just some closing classes, so a lot of spare time. Hell yeah. Hopefully we get to see you around some more. I understand, like, if you want to spend your time in other ways and decompress, it's totally cool. If you like decompressing with us, we love it when you're here. So thank you. Anna, I know that you haven't been around for Dread Dev, but we want to credit people in the community for supporting us. So think about how you want to be credited in Dread. If you want to just be Anna Lyrith from chat, we can put that in there. If you want something else, we can do like another section for like biggest supporters or whatever, because like you, LFQ, Artificial Sky, like you guys have donated a ton to the studio. So recognizing your guys' contribution is really important, because we couldn't do as much as we've done without you guys. Like, you make the task much easier. It's not, if you think of Peak, it's not walking up the mountain alone. Like, you guys are dropping the ropes for us and helping us up there. So yeah, very good stuff. Okay, so Tony's working on the transition from the space inside of the mansion into the forest. Just Anna Lyrith is good? All right, perfect. Got you in there. Brightside, you'll also be in there. Boom, you'll also be in there. You guys are the goats. We know who you are. You people who've been around for a very long time, since the beginning. Always catching the Fractal Grove show and telling your friends, telling your family, rating us, all that stuff. You guys are amazing. So thank you for all the support. Yeah, the popcorn. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm thinking about how much of the shader we want to share, Tony. We should probably talk about it offline for like if we make a video for how to make it or something like that. Because I know that you followed some tutorials, but I think the thing you made is probably really interesting and other people would want to see it.
No, for sure.
Oh, Brightside, that's the new rule, man. If you claim first, you have to be here when we go live, and then you get first credit. But you weren't here. Boom was here, and so you got revoked. I'm sorry, brother. That's just the rules. I know you've got He did get the Voronoi figured out at her. My name in the game, all the subs and coffee paint.
Yeah, here we can show it again.
I'm glad that makes you happy, Anna. Like, what we want, I want to make sure that you feel good about being a member of this community. So, in whatever way you want to be credited or acknowledged, like, let us know. Brightside, we still need your Easter egg, by the way. So I know you've been really deep on Pizza Game, so send us some shit. you know, and we'll get you in there. Yeah, Adder, it's fucking good, dude. It's really good. Like, I love what Tony built.
See, changing some stuff if it hasn't been compiled takes a second for sure, even when I'm in the instance, but
also, Adder, since you're a first in chat enjoyer, we had a bit of a scandal this morning. Brightside claimed first about an hour before we went live, but was not here when we did go live. But Boom popped in and said first and was actually the first in chat when we were live. So we revoked Brightside's first status and give it to Boom. So that's the new rule. If you want first, we're going to give it to the person who says first in chat when we're live. So not that it fucking means anything anyway. Oh shit, definitely scandalous. Yeah.
So
go
this
ahead.
one has the UVs like scaled by distance from the edge. I think I can't remember exactly what I did, but smaller in the middle, bigger on the outside. This one's the same thing, but without that, just kind of scaled flat across the whole thing. Also looks pretty cool. This one has 3 layers right now. This other one only has 2 just because it compiles a little faster when I'm experimenting. I can control the border color of each layer. I can control the cell color of each layer. I can have it use the Voronoi coloring. I have smoothness control of the edges and thickness control of the edges and all sorts of stuff. So now we just gotta make a move and undulate and, you know, do all that stuff. So I'm debating right now whether I want to try to figure out how to do something with like a time node in the material. That would be ideal, because if I could figure it out and make it like infinite or something, then problem solved. The other option will be just controlling a bunch of material parameters like in a sequence or something. So that's my fallback plan right now.
It's very good. Very, very good. I'm really excited about how we can use this thing. It's going to be awesome. Hopefully not too, you know, performance hungry too, but it'll be okay. We'll figure it out.
I don't think it's too bad. I'm more worried about these trees right now.
Yeah, those trees are going to be juicy. You can take the flow map approach and make it infinite worst case. I think that's the thing. Yeah.
What does that mean?
That's the thing that Tony is like trying to figure out, how to make it infinite, because he's not sure the current.
Yeah, because like right now, I keep closing it, but like right now, my problem is like it's not infinitely recursive. Of course, like I only have 3 layers here. I don't know how I would make a material infinitely recursive. I'm sure it's possible, but my brain cannot figure it out. So I'm kind of stuck with like my idea being something to the effect of like, as the outside cells here grow, the inside ones start to appear, and then at a point, like you can definitely get these outside cells so big that one cell is effectively covering the entire space, and so now the secondary cells are kind of like the same as the outside cells were. So you could do that 3 times here, and depending on how fast it's moving and what it's doing, I would probably get a decent length of time out of it, but it wouldn't be infinite.
While you guys are thinking about that, let me go see what I got in the old news cycle here. There were a few things to maybe talk about. Oh, this one's good. How about we start with some more of Peter Molyneux's lies? Let's see, what was this? Okay, so Peter Molyneux's back. If you guys are unfamiliar, he's the guy behind Fable, behind Goddess, behind
Black and White.
Black and White. He famously had a like sort of I don't even think he crashed out, but he got clowned because he made all these grand promises with Goddess. LFQ, no, you did not get first. Today was Boom. We had a whole thing. I don't know if you're here for the talk about the first scandal and first entitlement, but if you say first and you do it before we're live, it doesn't count unless you type in chat when we are live that you were first. Oh, you did hear it. All right, cool. So the scandal was that we revoked Brightsides first.
I'm gonna put it in the Grove Tender bot after we finish Dread.
So Boom was saying 5 first redeems in chat, so that people don't know who actually got first, but 5 people could claim first.
Nice.
Yeah, which is great. That's a really good idea. Fucking rule changing Grovians over here. Hey bro, you got Dick Falcone over there keeping it real. For us, it's the Grove Tender bot. So you know, Grove Tender's keeping the fucking shit right. You know, we got to keep people honest, bro. Otherwise, like, what is society? We're no better than animals if we
got people calling first, and then we go live today, and it's a fucking ghost town. It's not okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's a boom town. We had Boom in here.
Well, Boom got in there. She was the first person to show up, but before that, ghost town.
Hacking daylight saving. Wait, did we daylight savings, guys?
I think it's this weekend. Someday.
Oh, it's this weekend. Okay. Yep. Man, shit got me all fucked up. I was like, what time is it? But also, I have to say the reason. Oh, you did you guys do daylight savings? It's crazy that you do that in
Oh yeah, Europe. And they always do it a week different from ours. And so whenever you work with international people, there's always a week where like one side or the other is doing their meeting 2 hours different than they're used to. And they're like, what the fuck? It's the worst, dude.
Yeah, so I'm all weird today because I was, you know, as you guys know, I've been like really studying and researching psychological horror and all these like crazy ass concepts that I'm not usually in tune with because it fucks up my head and gets me in really weird mental states. So last night let me see how far into this video I was watching more Wendigoon, which I have a like and a dislike for Wendigoon. I like how he covers a lot of really interesting things, but he did a video that was 5 hours long on what is it called? It's Mother Horse Eyes, I think, which is really fucking weird. Mother Horse Eyes. Yeah, so I got an hour into it. It's almost 6 hour long video where he's talking about this shit, and it's so fucking weird, guys. So this is a story that a Redditor was posting. It's one of those like viral, yeah, it's like a creepypasta, viral internet, you know, stories where this account Mother Horse Eyes was posting on Reddit in these like complete non sequitur styles. So like a subreddit about cycling or enjoying nature or photography, and people are like having a conversation about something, and then dude goes in and drops a post that's like, in 1964, the CIA conducted a mind control operation called MK Ultra, and like writes a whole fucking paragraph about this like crazy shit. And people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? But then within like a half an hour, posts a continuation of that narrative in a completely different subreddit, and then does the same thing again. Does like 6 of these posts, and then as people start like collating this information, create a new subreddit about Mother Horse Eyes, posts in there and goes, says something like, hey, I have to admit, I'm the author of this. My name is Nick. You know, and I realize that everything I'm about to say obviously sounds megalomaniacal, and I may have some mental health problems. I've essentially been drinking myself to death for the last 30 years because this knowledge is unbearable. Like all this crazy shit. And you're like, okay, what the fuck? Is this real? Is this not real? It's one of those things, kind of like myhouse.wad or like House of Leaves or King in Yellow type shit. So I got interested in that, but I could only get an hour in because I was like, this is too fucked up. This is so weird. It's very disturbing. Yeah, it's MK Ultra o'clock. Exactly. So the narrative conceit of this person's story is that the mind control experiments around LSD, which was invented by a scientist in the 40s, were these experiments were carried out by world governments, and LSD like changes the way the human brain perceives reality and connects it with this cosmic horror interdimensional being called Mother Horse Eyes. And that thing is using flesh, like meat, organic material, to create an interface between the dimensions and harvest these beings. You know, it's humans, it's animals, all kinds of shit like that, and enslave them to the mother. It's fucking weird. It's really weird. So yeah, really scary shit. And I was like, I gotta stop reading this. This is gonna, I won't be able to go to sleep. So yeah, it grants us horse eyes. Exactly. Yeah, it's really fucking crazy. So if you guys are into that type of thing, potentially check out Wendigoon's Mother Horse Eyes video. The thing to know about Wendigoon, he covers stories really well, but the dude doesn't do the diligence of Googling words he doesn't understand and really understanding context for how things appear. And he takes a lot of stuff very literally. So I have some gripes with like his interpretation, his editorial, and how he describes the story. But the way he covers the whole thing is very thorough. So I appreciate that. I watched his video on the King in Yellow. It was like 3.5 hours long. And what I liked about it is that I then didn't have to go pick up the book King in Yellow and read it for myself. He covered the major points of it, describes the whole concept of the King in Yellow as a horror device or a narrative device in horror, and why it's important to the greater landscape of horror and all of that. So that I appreciate. But he didn't pronounce words correctly or consistently. There's a character in the first one called the Mask. No, it's not the Mask. It's the Restorer of Reputations. I gotta find, what was it? Hillbridge or something like that. I'm fucking the name up now too.
Hildridge, maybe.
It was in Dread. Hold on, I gotta go look and find this because you made a meme out of it, which made me laugh really hard.
Hildrin, maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
I think you had it. I think it was Hildridge. Oh, Hildred. Okay.
Hildred, yep.
So the main character in the Restorer of Reputation's name is Hildred Castaigne, and while Wendigoon is reading this, he's literally reading it. He has the text like superimposed on the screen, and he's like reading through these passages. He just forgets that the dude's name is Hildred and refers to him as Hilbert several times. And doesn't correct himself, doesn't edit it, doesn't fix it, goes, nah, I did one take, I'm good, ship it, and then sends the video off. And I'm like, dude, that's confusing. Like, it's not a meta thing where he's like trying to be like, am I crazy or are you crazy? It's just sloppy. So that's my only beef with Wendigoon's content. But overall, I like the way he will, relatively accurately cover a whole topic. He just gets lost in the details, but he's really good. Okay, let me see what else. Did you guys hear about the Sim streamers leaving EA creator program because of the acquisition, and not small ones, big ones from Twitch and YouTube? I didn't know anything about that. Politics setting sights on a certain family being involved in the EA ordeal. Yep, exactly, Adder. Saw lots of posts about it on LinkedIn and political forums this week. Going to be interesting. Yeah, it's Kushner related. It's like some silver leaf acquisitions or some shit like that. Some big financial firm that he's a board member of. Lots of political worry of UAE taking control of Western media and their political influence. Yep, that's very real. I've talked about that a little bit. Foreign influence on Western entertainment is really crazy right now. So this is another clear example of political bribery. Should be interesting to see play out with a direct connection to the games industry happenings. Yeah, it's worrisome. AAA is cooked. I think that's like AAA just keeps fucking making mistakes, and it's good for us. It's just bad for people who love games and entertainment and stories. So hopefully, wonderful people like you continue to support us, and we can be a new face and voice for making good stuff, making good art. The Sims have a very inclusive community, and people are really worried about it. Oh yeah, Anna, that's gonna be a problem. That 100% that will be a problem. I have. Let me think of how to word this. I have heard rumors that when a company courts foreign investment money, and these are pretty well substantiated rumors, that the foreign influence has a very firm hand in the type of art that gets created, because obviously they want that to be released in their market, and their cultures being so different, they can't allow certain stories or representations that we're okay with in the West, that we accept through, you know, progressive societal change as a normal thing, they don't allow those things because it's counter to their culture or disruptive to their ideologies, undermining of, you know, certain concepts that they have. So it's a worry. You know, I think a broader term is people refer to it as art censorship, right? Like we're approaching that as you know, capitalism courts foreign influence. I already see changes like Lil Simsy, who's one of the biggest The Sims streamer, doing more variety, not The Sims 5, not The Sims 5 days a week. That's crazy.
That's pretty good.
Which reminds me, since we're, you know, I'm being derisive about capitalism right now, which is, to be clear, I am a capitalist. I think it's a good system. I think that there's a way to be an ethical capitalist, though, and I've said this many times. We don't always need to make the most gains and sacrifice everything to put more dollars in our own pockets. It's fucked up. What I like about capitalism is the best thing stands the highest and does the best. There's a lot of mentality, especially in contemporary times, of how people do business, where it's not the best thing that does the best. They take the thing that was built on doing the best thing, and then they just part it up and sell it and carve it off so that the person who's currently running the thing makes the most money, and they don't care about the future of it, and it dies. So they're creating these big gaps, you know, power gaps for another thing to take its place, which is very short-sighted and weird. And I don't understand the, you know, the simplest justification using Hanlon's and Occam's razors as logical arguments is that these people just want to get their own, and they just want to make their own bank accounts bigger and more padded, and it's shameful, I think. Let's see. This is for the better, TBH. Boycott with your wallet. Wallet equals time spent in game. Yeah, absolutely, Adder. I'm a big advocate of that. Not spending time playing and not spending money on their products is how change is made. Exactly. So since we're talking about that, I want to mention Halo Campaign Evolved. My thoughts when I saw that, art is dead. It's fucked. I can't believe they're doing that. It's so crazy. I mean, like, I understand why they're doing it. It's probably going to make a lot of fucking money. Famously, there is a level designer, someone who was very much like me when I was at Bungie, but before my time, Jamie Griesmer. He did the original Halo campaign, and he made the Silent Cartographer level. Very famous inside the industry for his work because he made some of the coolest shit that is the most beloved that people enjoy. He saw the Halo CE announced trailer. When I say CE, I mean Campaign Evolved. And he was like, you guys already fucked it up. He's like, in Silent Cartographer, I put boxes in the way so you couldn't drive the Warthog into the encounter with the two hunters. You had to dismount and fight them on foot, because if you bring the Warthog in, it's not hard. It's not compelling. You don't have to think. You just drive through and the encounter suddenly doesn't really matter. Totally right. He says, furthermore, another, you know, it wasn't his words, but like a bastardization of it, a ruining of that stuff that he made, showing that the people who made this have no understanding of the design that initially went into it that made the thing good, is there's what we would refer to, or what is known as the woohoo jump. The woohoo jump is when you're hauling ass in the Warthog and you hit this hill, and a Marine in the Warthog goes, woohoo! And it's a cool moment. They put trees in it so you can hit the trees and you don't get enough fucking height and you don't get enough speed, so the woohoo moment is completely ruined. What are we doing? Why the fuck are we doing this other than just to make someone rich? It's crazy. And for me personally, I don't know if I want to say this. I'll omit the name. There's a person I saw in the reveal trailer that I worked with back on Destiny that was in the production lane. And this dude is definitely NBA businessman type, doesn't have love for games despite what he says. I don't fucking like this guy at all. As soon as I saw him in there, I was like, I don't want to keep watching this. I'm going to nope out of this trailer, not give them any fucking views. So I'm one person, it's one view. But I was like, nah, fuck that guy. So, yeah, the The hatchet men and the leeches are everywhere, destroying the art that we love. It fucking sucks. That's why we're doing what we're doing. That was one of the big reasons to make Fractal Grove. You've been doing it for the last 2 years and you're very happy about it. Good, Anna. Thank you. It's going to take us. Anna, I would guess that you buy more than 2 games a year. I don't think you're around for this, but there's a statistic that I read that the game industry is carried by 20% of the player base, and they're the core gamers who buy more than 2 games a year. The large majority of gamers buy 1 game or 2 games per year and no more than that. So that chunk of the audience, while it is a much larger demographic, it's something like 80%. So it's really the majority of people who purchase games only buy 1 or 2 games a year. They don't support the industry. It's the 20% who are people like us who are buying more than 2 games a year that will spend on microtransactions. We will spend hundreds of hours in a game that we love. We will evangelize this. We will get other people to buy the game. You know, we're the engaged community. If you think back to the late 90s, early 2000s, that's referred to as the core gamer demo. That is still very real. And so if you think about that, knowing this, the pursuit of the modern audience is fucking stupid. It's just, it doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. Yeah, it's 80% of the market. So what are we doing? Are we making fast food entertainment where everyone buys a McChicken and the margins are like 3 cents on the dollar? Like that's crazy. So we need to not do that shit. As an industry, I'm not talking to us as an audience, in that point. I'm saying just as an industry, we need to stop these people, if we can, from getting into positions of power where they can make decisions about it. Otherwise, AAA is going to fully collapse. And then the new AAA, this new movement, hopefully, we, Fractal Grove, can be a part of that new wave coming in of indies that is becoming AAA and taking back the art form and making stuff that people genuinely love and creating these new cultural moments. Yeah, I had another thought that like Friend Slop is really popular right now, but I don't think it's because gamers want to play Friend Slop. It's because it's a good value proposition, and for the most part, Friend Slop is rooted in good game first. They make a very simple mechanic that is easily enjoyable and understood, and players get a good value out of that. By contrast, you get something that's very heavy-handed, pushing an ideology, telling you how to think about a thing, and gameplay comes secondary to that, or very heavy on visuals. If we don't want to talk about politics and that stuff, Halo CE is a great example. They ruined the stuff that makes the game good for the sake of making money to get more people in there. So it's all crazy shit.
What do you think about I feel like people are really, really, really hung up on the sprinting thing. And I was just thinking about it and I was like, I can understand a lot. Like literally every point you made, I think is super valid. You didn't talk about the sprinting thing, which I think is interesting, but
I forgot about sprinting. Yeah.
Well, it's just like I feel like it's the thing that I see talked about the most of anything. And I just keep seeing the argument being like, Halo was designed for you to be able to walk slow and take in the environment and the mood and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know. While that's probably technically true, I just feel like it's a weird thing for everybody to be like as hung up on as they are on top of everything else.
I think it's so. This is also a problem with the discourse of games online and in public. A designer who is well respected will say something about sprint specifically as an example that's easily digestible, and then people just carry that talking point forward without understanding why it matters. So for me, the reason I understand sprint mattering a lot in Halo is because of pacing. So I can put this in the context of Dread. As I was going through and tuning the shape of the neighborhood, the length of the segments, the amount of segments we have, the shape of the path and all of that, that's pacing. And all of that really matters for how we deliver. I talked about we need to have these crescendos of emotion where the player feels a lot of anxiety and fear and your heartbeat gets going, but you have to bring that back down again. And you bring it back down again so that the next moment is just as powerful as the first one. If it's only high speed, you're going to adapt to it and you will not feel the impact of the moments later in the game because you're already fucking strung out and you're cranked up to the max. So it just won't hit as well. You can't design experiences in that way unless you account for pacing. So the argument about sprint in Halo is pacing. There are intentional downbeats that elicit different emotions in the player. But if the player's, zooming like boom off the Beppis, they're not going to fucking have a moment. They're going to just...
I feel like you're making a very solid argument to this whole thing. And what I keep seeing everybody talk about is like, nobody's going to look around at the cool level design and architecture. And it's like, they already weren't going to. They're Zoomers who are trying to beat the game literally as fast as they possibly can. And like, yes, you're allowing them to do it faster now, which is just going to exacerbate the problem. But I don't know. It just, again, the entire argument has felt very thin to me, and it's all I see people talking about. And it's just, I feel like there's a lot of really valid points in there, and that is one that is farther. I don't know.
Yeah, looking at the environment is a symptom of proper pacing. So it's not that proper pacing allows the player to look at the environment and that players are going to want to look at the environment. The music is timed along with that based on the speed of the player. So another good example with Dread is, with the ALS player controller, we had sprint, we had crouch, we had jump, and I was like, pull all that out. The player can only walk. And the reason for that is because it's easier for us to build tension. If you can always run away from a scary thing, the player's going to start making decisions that we don't want them to make, and they will make the experience worse for themselves. This is a really weird part about game design. If you let the player do certain things, they will always choose that option because it seems optimal to them to go do this thing. And, the way I've always referred to it as is degenerate behavior, which some people find to be funny because it's like, oh, you're talking shit about gamers. I'm like, no. I'm saying that a person will choose a behavior that's really bad for them and making their experience worse and then blame the game when they chose to do the thing because they're playing the game wrong. So when a player's playing the game wrong, the designer hasn't done a good job of encouraging the player to play the game the correct way, the way that they want them to play it to get the emotional reaction that they want. I've told you guys before that game design is somewhat manipulative. But in this case, you're not trying to steal anything from somebody or, make them think a certain way to hurt them for your own gain. What you're doing with the manipulation of a person's mental state, which we would refer to as suspension of disbelief, is encouraging them to think about the nature of reality in a different way or connect with a character and have an experience from their own life relate to the story that they're hearing or experiencing. So that's what I mean when I say it. I use terms that, are typically associated in a negative way, but I think it's the most correct syntax wise of how a word is used. So that's why I say manipulative and degenerate behavior and all that. I'm not saying that players are stupid and I hate them and all that. I'm saying that if you allow a player to do something that they perceive as a better option, even though it's harmful to their experience, they will do it. They will always fucking do it. So you just can't let them do it. Like you gotta be like, okay, they're gonna do this, but we're not gonna allow it to happen. Of course, the downside to everything I'm saying is players are potentially gonna get frustrated only walking. So when I design with that in mind, I go, how do I make the walking less painful? Because I know that I've reduced it down to this simple constraint. They can only walk. They can't sprint. They can't jump. They can't crouch. All of that. So how do I think in that mindset, what is it going to be like if I'm walking the whole fucking time? How do I make this not boring? That's pacing. That's the important thing. So when you undermine that by putting a sprint into Halo CE, there's so many other knock-on effects. There's so many other pieces of the game that are harmed by that decision that is very short-sighted or a fundamental misunderstanding of the core game design of Halo Combat Evolved. Hey, Stevie. Oh, I know that was for chat. Sorry. I thought that was for us. Let's see. I think adding sprint is fine. They removed the sprint from OG Halo because tech restrictions. WoW Classic is another great example of improving the OG formula without affecting nostalgia. Player base initially hating, but eventually loving the updates. Yo,
I kind of assumed like they probably would have put sprint in Halo 1 if they probably didn't, because it was like a loading constraint or something.
Yeah, that's what Adder was
you
saying.
could move too fast and then stuff wouldn't load. I mean, they let you drive a Warthog, which goes quite a bit faster than you could walk, but I guess they would design interior sections around your walk speed. So,
and they can control when you get the Warthog and when you can't use the Warthog. So it becomes, the constraints are really important for game design because it's all arbitrary anyway. You're deriving what the universe constraints are, and that's what good game design is giving yourself enough to work within. Really good games have a ton of constraints. They let the player feel free to work within those constraints. And when I talk about that in a positive way, the reason it's good is because the more constraints you have, the easier it is for a player to understand the shape of the world. Reality is scary and difficult for people because there are basically no constraints. You can do whatever you want within the laws of physics, but like there's so many choices. And when you give a player fewer choices, this is an affordance problem. Those fewer choices make it so that the player doesn't have to stop and fucking think all the time for every decision they make. So that becomes a useful tool to create the type of experience that you want the player to have exactly. So that's why I like those things. It's a really weird balance. Yo, Anna with another gifter. Thank you. Thank you for gifting to Stevie. Also, what's up, Omni? Glad to see you here, brother. I know you're busy this morning, but
in OG Halo, wow.
Wait, what was the jump in OG Halo?
Adder says they had double jump in OG Halo.
Interesting. Yeah, and so that's the thing that I was talking about, where I was saying, as we have increased scope for Dread, it's because we found something really good. I bet double jump in Halo was just something that they added, and they were like, "This is hurting the game," and so they pulled it out. I know that coming from a tech art perspective, Adder, you can see technical reasons why. Coming from the design perspective and having been at Bungie and talking to some of these, these goats of the industry, they lean into those tech constraints and they become design pillars, and that helps make the experience more refined and the constraints more solid. So they're symbiotic in that regard. Turning Cog, what's up, brother? Welcome. I'm in your time zone stealing your Chiba Huts. Kappa cool. Okay, all right. I don't know what that means, but nice.
Damn, my chat must be behind. I gotta refresh or something.
Let's see. LFQ says no you're cute, Stevie. 90 subs, the world is good now. Thank you, Anna. I think you're still woefully behind LFQ. He has gone completely ham with the channel support, or with the studio support rather.
Dude, Stevie, I got Chiba Hut kind of recently because I thought it sounded good and I haven't had it in a while, and I'm sad to say that it was insanely disappointing. It was nothing like I remember it. It was so bad. It was really sad.
I remember I was like, Chiba Hut's familiar. I don't know that I've had Chiba Hut in a very long time, just like what Tony was saying. That was
when
like a 20-year-old
high school and like first went to college and stuff. Like it was definitely kind of like shitty stoner food sandwiches, but like it was good. I thought it was delicious, and what I got was just very low quality compared to what I remember.
Oh, Ramblino Rose, we got him in here. What's up, brother? Yo, thank you again so much for your art. Ramblin made us some logos and some fonts, some really good shit that's helping nail the mood for Dread. So thank you so much, man. Love your stuff. I don't know if you got to see Tony's Fractal. He's working on some other stuff right now, but dude, he got it. It's fucking going, man. It's very cool. I'm catching up on chat. We got a lot of pop-off emotes for the subs. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for the emotes and cheering her on. That's exactly what I believe the case was. Streaming, they had a whole talk about it at one point on at GDC. They had a sprint and double jump in the OG Halo Apple showcase and pulled it for Halo 1 ship. This industry hires animals. Yeah, I think we're all animals, bro. Deleting files is taking ages. Yeah, I feel you, Turning Cog. If they live in Colorado and have had Chiba, I'd be mind blown. I'm pretty okay. So, guys, I grew up in Boulder, so I was more of a Snarfs kid. Like, I definitely went for Snarfs more than Chiba Hut for sure. I would also go to, I think it was Half-Ass Subs was the other one I would go to. Half-Ass Subs and Snarfs were my goats. Is it Half-Ass Subs that did like all the New York style subs? Do you remember that, Tony?
Half-Assed is on the hill, and they have like 500 subs on their menu, and they have the big pitchers of drinks.
I think that was it. What was the place with like the Gobbler and like the Gangster?
Yep.
Yeah, so I would go there too.
No, that's far superior sandwich shop to Chiba Hut probably, but
yeah, Stevie, go hit up a Snarfs and go hit up Half-Assed. They're really good.
Snarfs is great. Yep.
I think nearest to where you're at, Longmont might be the best bet because I think they've got both up there. Also, they moved Oscar Blues out of Lions down to Longmont, and the quality went down. Not as good, unfortunately. I also know the OG Halo Showcase at Macworld was mega scabbed together and far from ready to ship. They didn't have any complete gameplay loops. Halo 1 Road to Gold was a whirlwind, including a Microsoft purchase of the IP. Yeah, that's very true, Adder. That I can definitely confirm that from being on the inside and knowing about the Halo stuff. Yeah, Ramblin', it's so good, man. Like Tony made it. He made it work. There's like over 2,000 instructions in that fucking one shader. It's very crazy. Yes, Stevie, we did. We increased the scope, but it's because we got some really cool shit in. You know, like Tony's Fractal, the Infinite Forest, the well, I'm realizing now. I was like, why does Infinite Forest sound familiar? That's what they called it in Destiny, in Curse of Osiris, the Infinite Forest, and it was not infinite, and it was not a forest. So we have a literal forest,
procedurally generated forest that had 3 different variations.
Yup. So our Infinite Forest is actually real and infinite, and it's good. Yeah, we added scope store weapons. There's no weapons in this, but yeah. Oh my god, half-assed with pictures of Long Islands. Yup.
Yep.
It's so good. Cheap Ho is better than half-assed. You're crazy for that. Yeah,
at a peak it probably was, but I don't know.
Yeah, how long has it been since you've had a Chiba Hut? Because I think Tony's right. You said 2019. Scope creep, more like scope flood. Exactly.
And I mean, to be fair, I got one from Denver, which might not be as good of a Chiba Hut. Like, I know Ramblin' lives in Fort Collins, and their Chiba Hut is probably better and probably still good, but who knows? I don't know. It was not good.
It is, Anna. I worked on the Infinite Forest when I was at Bungie. That's the funny part. And the irony here of us calling this the Infinite Forest is that it literally, that's the best way to describe what it is. And the choice to call it the Infinite Forest in Destiny was a marketing term. It was originally called like the Iron Forest or something like that, but marketing didn't like that, so they killed that name. It was weird. But I also had strong opinions about that, which I voiced to Dan Miller, who was the creative lead for the release. So when I told you guys that I pitched the Saint 14 quest, and that's how I got added to the release, I pitched that directly to Dan and Sam Jones, who were, you know, project leads for that. And then franchise creative director was Chris Barrett, who is gone for SA scandals and all kinds of horrible behavior that he had. But anyway, Barrett loved my pitch. He was like, yeah, this is perfect in line with the franchise, blah, blah, blah. I got in and they were like, you got to work on Infinite Forest. And I was like, I'm making a quest. Like, what do you mean? And so they're like, yeah, you have to do this other thing. And I'm like, that's not why I fucking got to this release. And then I had a lot of conversations with Miller about how Infinite Forest really needs to play like Diablo. And he didn't get it. He said Diablo sucked. He didn't like it. He was like, I don't understand why people even play this game. It's fucking stupid. It's not the same kind of game. And I tried to have conversations with him about it, but he was a difficult dude to talk to. I remember once I was like, dude, let's go get a beer. We can chat about this at length. And I remember, so this is a crazy story. I remember him going, are you trying to ask me out on a date? And I was like, what the fuck? No, man. I was like, I just want to talk to you outside of the studio. Like, be real as two designers talking to each other. And he goes, I'm not fucking interested. And I was like, all right, later, man. It was a very strange, the politics at that place were fucking crazy. I remember I did have lunch with Sam Jones. I told him, he was like, what do you think of Miller? And I was like, I really like him. He's very like, you know, direct and like communicative, which is different from like Seattle personalities. Like, you should tell him that. I told him that. Apparently pissed him the fuck off. So Sam Jones thought it would be funny to troll me, to go troll my creative lead and tell him some shit that I didn't know. And I only learned this through a third party who was like, oh, you fucked that interaction up. And I was like, fuck you guys, dude. Can we not just be human beings making a good video game? Can we stop all this fucking, you know, dick measuring and posturing, please? So yeah, it's just, that was my experience at Bungie. I'm more open now that they're crashing the fuck out and burning to the ground. But yeah, it was, I've told you guys before, some of the coolest moments of my career juxtaposed with some of the most negative and awful moments of my career. Dude, Adder, there was literally a dude in a meeting when I was pitching the 0-hour weapon reward as Mythoclast. I was saying Vex Mythoclast should be it. It would be really cool. Bring it back. And the guy who's in charge of the weapons sandbox, Grant Mackay, he goes, not to put my dick on the table here, but I'm the guy that makes the decision. So I say no. And I was like, okay, I guess we're done with the conversation. And then Lars was in the meeting and Lars goes, hey, Grant, can you stick around for a minute? And there was a female producer in the room, so I'm sure they had a long talk with him about his turn of phrase and why that's unacceptable. it was pretty funny to me. And it turns out we ended up getting Outbreak instead, which I was like, whatever, it's fine, it'll work. But they didn't listen to me. They were, you know, I had more oversight, and they were just like, no, you don't get what you want. And I was like, why? It would make the game better. I don't have this fucking agenda to bring back broken weapons. That was a big concern, was that Mythoclast was broken and they had to do stuff to make it work better because it was causing problems and it wasn't built right. And so that's why it would never be in the game again. And I was just like, I hear you, but it would be good. Like, it would be good. You would have an amazing moment and players would love it. And they were like, no, we're not going to do things that players would love. Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely weird working dynamics, Anna. I mean, like, we're seeing all that manifest now in the current form of Bungie. That's probably why they messed up your sandwich. They can smell your fear of a 10 strip. Yeah, that's real as fuck. The homeland, hell yeah, dude. Staff was always a bit ragtag in Denver. Absolutely, Brightside. I heard people straight from Widespread Panic Lot. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I ain't scared of no 10 strip. Goated Tony. Tony's gonna start, you know, interacting with the fucking mother horse eyes and shit. Bring on the horse eyes. Hell no, dude. I'm not down with that. I gotta save you from the horse eyes and the flesh interfaces. Tony McCultra, MK Ultra. I love it, dude. Widespread panic and fish mashups only. Oh, you guys are funny. Yeah, exactly, Anna. I assume you were responding to my story about that like crazy interaction at in that meeting about what the weapon reward is. It was a crazy meeting. We had a lot of like, you know, release leadership and, you know, directors in there. And this dude was like, not to put my dick on the table. And I'm like, cool. But you actually did. And you were flexing because you had a modicum of power. You didn't want to listen to a person who knew the game better than you did. Whatever. Rip Bozo. Nah, LFQ, I'm bigger than that. I don't have to do it. I just go, okay. Walk out and be like, I'm an adult. You're a fucking baby. You can be a baby. Yeah, that's fine with me. I don't even know what the guy's doing anymore. Let me go find out. I got beef with that guy though. Oh, he's at Riot. Nice. Have fun over there, dude. Oh man. Yeah, that guy was super weird. His so he was part of a crew that came from BioWare Edmonton. They worked on Mass Effect. There were like 4 of them. A couple of them are really, really cool. One dude, Josh, his wife was the animator for, I think, Adventure Time, which was very, very cool. He was a very nice dude. I really liked him. He was really good at what he did. He did combatants design, and then he dipped out because of bureaucracy. There's another guy who did cinematics direction who was really good. And then Grant, and my boss was Ray, and she... I have mixed feelings. I know she stuck up for me, and it wasn't her fault for my career being held back or anything like that. So I have some mixed feelings about our interactions, because at the end of the day, she was my boss, and it was her fault for me not getting promotions that were due based on the work that I did and the contributions I made to the IP in the Whisper, right? So after the Whisper, I didn't get a promotion. I didn't get anything. I had like they call it a sub ladder level bump, which was like a cost of living increase. And I was like, what the fuck is this? This is like crazy. I'm doing the job of a senior designer. And she's like, yeah, they won't give you senior. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, they said you probably need to take like another year in the role before you could get there. And that was all politics. It was because her boss rejected it and said no. So it was stupid as fuck. Yes, Tony, you got the house into the forest. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, let me I think it's just worth showing off the transition a little bit better too. Let me change my sky here to like evening time. But it's pretty cool because the staircase disappears behind you when you leave it, and I've got it. And so like the house looks like this, and I don't have a light in this level right now because this was supposed to kind of spawn into the neighborhood, but the house would look normal in the neighborhood, and it just looks like a 2-story house, blah blah blah. And then as you cross a collider right here, I'm unloading the top of the house and I'm loading the staircase that is really fucking long, and then the forest is at the top of it. And if we walk up here, there's another collider at the top of the stairs that is going to basically like fill in the hole behind me on the ground and unload everything. And it happens, while I'm walking forward. So if I go up here and then I just like walk up here and then I turn around, shit, where to go? It's not there anymore. So that's kind of neat.
You guys don't understand how proud I am. Young Tony not having made a game. And I've had, okay, so Tony, if you don't mind, I'll spill a little tea about, I got Tony some interviews, tried to bring him into some studios that I was working at, and he got rejected saying he was like not a good programmer and shit like that. And that helped kind of light a fire. And I was like, man, fuck that. I'm sorry, dude. This really sucks. Not a good programmer. Hilarious, dude. Yeah, Tony, my goat. I'm so fucking proud, dude. Like, you guys don't understand. It's so sick. I'm like, let's do some crazy shit. And Tony's like, bet. And then he just fucking makes it happen. It's so cool.
Like we were saying yesterday, it's like I wouldn't have wanted to do this if we were just gonna make like something boring and lame.
Yeah.
So
that's one I keep trying to tell you guys, like, we don't want to make bad stuff. So, scope gets bigger, things get crazier, but we start with a very austere vision. And then as we develop things, where it makes sense, because something like this is really fucking cool, I'm like, all right, yeah, let's keep going.
And you can talk to them about like what's going on out in the trees here that I'm working on too, if you want.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The wisps in the fairy forest. Okay, cool. So in the story I wrote, I referred to this as the fairy forest. So the idea here, and Tony came up with the concept of like the player can move around inside the space of the forest, and I was like, this is really good. I know how to make this work, and I was like, we just need to guide the player. So this is very rudimentary right now, but the idea is to add more visual tells and audio tells. But it carries out the same feel of the neighborhood where you can go the wrong way. So if you don't follow the lights and you don't follow the sounds, you can keep going in that direction infinitely. You never actually leave the same, what like 40 by 40
kilometers or
Oh, 2 kilometer. You can never leave the 2 kilometer square, but it feels like you are walking infinitely in any direction because of the way Tony built the tech that moves the player around. So the way we get the player to move in the correct direction is we're using this concept of the will-o'-the-wisp in the forest. These glowing lights will guide the player towards where they need to go. After they reach 3 of these, this is arbitrary right now for testing purposes and like gauging pacing.
And right now I'm doing it after 1 just to like test the sequence. So, yep.
So the player is going to continue to follow these wisps. This will carry through with more concepts of like finding notes and getting more narrative and stuff like that. Imagine a note is pinned to a tree. This is where I'm going to use the King in Yellow stuff. I'm going to use the Song of Casilda. So this is where we'll get along the shore, the cloud waves break. The twin suns sink behind the lake. The shadows lengthen. That'll be one of the notes. So you'll have that after you have these other notes, which are like, Josh, I can't wait to see you at the party tonight, Faith. And then it like gets more crossed out until it says, I see you. And you go into the house and you're like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. What is this? I thought I was going to go hang out with this girl that I met at school at the party tonight and, you know, like get to hold hands or kiss on the cheek, whatever, right? You know, like do your teenage, you know, puppy love thing. But you're in this fucking psychological trap and like everything's really crazy. And the spooky mansion in your neighborhood is the cause of all of this. And this fractal is like hitting you. It's all anxiety. You know, these big broad abstract themes are going on here. So that's what we're going for with the whole story. Amazon layoffs yesterday also mean the new Lord of the Rings game in development was canceled. Which game, Adder? Do you know which one?
Probably wasn't going to be good anyway.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that I was like, oh, sick. They're making more Lord of the Rings games.
To be fair, the more like I think about the job thing that you were talking about too, like definitely not super interested in the project that you were working on, so like it would have been cool to get into the industry, but like I was not excited to work on Return to Moria. So
yep. Yeah. To be fair, I wasn't either, and that wasn't even the reason I went to the studio. There was a different project that I was really into that I literally can't talk about because it hasn't been announced, and so unfortunately I can't talk about that. But yeah, it was a completely different project. I thought it was really cool. I was excited. I got a big pay raise. I had more responsibility. I was ready to go. I was all in on it. And then I found out some more details about it. And I was like, I'm not comfortable with any of this and I don't want to be a part of this. So they moved me over to Return to Moria. Worked on that for about a year, something like that. Maybe a year and a half, all the way up until ship. And then they laid me off they laid me off like a month or 2 months, something like that, right before. So that's the way it goes. You know, I'm not crying about it. And one thing I want to say about all this crazy Bungie shit that I've been talking about recently, I've never said any of this stuff publicly. I've never been like, oh, these guys are fucked and they fucked me. I've always been really positive about Bungie. People I know in person.
You get called a shill.
Yeah. I absolutely been called a shill several times.
Which is hilarious if you know anything about your life. But.
Yeah, it's crazy. I have a lot of fucking hate for some people there because they didn't let me do my job based on merit and what I could do. And they always worked to stop me from doing something cool. And then they undermined my efforts and tried to take credit for things that I did with no support on my own. It's fucking crazy. And so there's just been this like recurring theme of like character assassination and like, I've always had this sense that I was blacklisted in the industry and I couldn't get a job and other people were talking shit because it's a very small industry. So, you know, it is what it is. It'll be nice. It'll be nice to make our own things and stand on our own. That's what makes me happy. So I know I've got what it takes because I did things without the support of other people at the studio that no one else was capable of doing. And many people around the studio at all levels who recognized what I did came and acknowledged that and gave me props for it and said, you got something special. And I was like, thank you. So in private, I at least received, I don't know what the right word is for it. Congratulations or like appreciation, recognition for the things that I did. But in public, it's always been the opposite. So it is what it is. It was supposed to be an open world action RPG, something to rival the recent Harry Potter Hogwarts open game from Avalanche. was leaving pre-production, hoping to see leaks drop. Curious what they had canceled. Seems like Amazon getting out of games with that move. Yeah, they're doing weird shit at her. They're doing the whole Luna thing and trying to build like a game streaming service or something.
They need to just make another game where you play as Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli and fight like the Battle of Helm's Deep and shit. You know, those games are awesome.
Yeah, so I'm catching up on chat, and you guys are very excited about the hallway and the forest and this transition and stuff. Brightside, when you were making fun of me a little bit with Mythic Quest and saying I was like Ian, I was like, no, that's actually real. I can't do this shit. It's in my head, but I can't make it. I need someone to help me make these things, and that's our business partnership. That's how it works. Like, Tony trusts. He's like, Vince can make cool shit, and I believe in it. So I'm going to try to fucking make it.
And you guys don't know how often I'm just like, I made this thing that's pretty cool, but I don't know what to do with it. And I'm just like, so I'm just going to show it to you, and then I'm going to walk away, and we'll talk about it in like a week. And
yep,
usually he comes up with something.
So Tony really is my favorite brush, but you know, like I can't do this shit without Tony. Like it doesn't work. So yeah, it's really nice to have found this partnership and doing this thing, and like, you know, we're making good stuff, and we're going to be in a really good place eventually. We just got to keep going. And so that's where we're at. Sorry, Omni said Adventure Time was a weird series. I liked it, man. Adventure Time is like one of the only, you know, contemporary cartoons that I thought was like very solid, really well made. You know, I've talked about Gendy Tartakovsky and his stuff, but I think Adventure Time's up there as well. I always forget about it because it's more juvenile than what I really look for in a cartoon. I like action cartoons, which are juvenile anyway, but you know, I grew up on like Dragon Ball Z and fucking Reboot and shit like that, and I was like really into, you know, this heroic story with action and adventure and all that, and I love those things. Adventure Time sometimes gets a little wacky, and I'm like, this is a little strange, but the core parts of it are really good. So
yeah, I know like the lore and the story and stuff is actually like super deep and like pretty compelling, but I kind of feel the same way about it. Like there's a lot of like, you know, preteen humor, I guess, that is a little cringe and hard to look past at times. I've never really gotten into it, but I have always kind of recognized that it's probably, you know, pretty solid.
I would much rather watch Adventure Time than like Steven Universe. I think is kind of the point that I'm trying to make, you know?
Yeah.
Or even Gumball. And Gumball's a good show. Like Gumball's actually a really good show. But that's even more kiddie than Adventure Time.
War in the North was good. Is that the Bob's Burgers? Oh no, that's a video game probably if you're talking about Shadow of Mordor after.
Yeah, Shadow of Mordor is
Bob's Burgers. People made a show that has North in the title. I can't remember what it's called though.
Yes, and I am much more happy, for real. The stakes are obviously way higher. It's harder, but you know, we built a support system that makes it so that we can keep doing this, and that's how I know like we're gonna be okay. We will eventually get there. We're gonna release some stuff. You guys will see we can make very good things. And Hyperskate is still there, and we still want to make it. There's something special with Hyperskate, so we're going to finish that game too. Again,
and there will be a VR resurgence someday, and we'll have better timing alongside that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other problem with Hyperskate is we still need an art champion. You know, like I can't do the art. Tony can do some art, but like it's a lot to have Tony do everything. And, you know, developing digital art skills is a lifelong thing. And Tony's really, really good at programming. So like having an engineer with this kind of mind is really awesome. And I'd like to keep him focused on that if we can keep that going in that direction. We need an art champion that can hop along, you know, jump on board and like really drive their own vision for what they want things to look like in line with the greater scope of the game and stuff like that. So when we get to that point, we're going to be firing on all cylinders, and we'll have like a solid fucking squad going, and that's where we're going. So we'll get there eventually. There's only one IP that I drop anything to risk. Oh, sorry. Drop anything and risk it all just to cross it off the bucket list, and that's a proper Lord of the Rings RPG game. Yeah, Adder, don't hold your breath, brother. it's not looking good for that IP right now, especially with Embracer ownership. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I was really excited about Return to Moria until I started working on it, and then I was like, oh my god, this vision is fucking butt cheeks. So yeah, obviously no love lost there either. Those dudes gave me the shittiest jobs that were outside of my area of expertise. They basically just like pushed me into a corner to make me, fail. But I refused to quit, and I refused to fail, and I did the best that I could with the tools that I had. And then they were like, nah, you got to get rid of him. Everything's over budget and out of scope, and we've blown 3 fucking deadlines so far, so we gotta cut the fat somewhere. And I was the fat, so I wasn't the only fat. There were a lot of people that got chopped at the same time. There was a VFX artist that had like worked in film and did some shit with NVIDIA, and they cut her too, which was crazy. Very skilled, like highly skilled. Definitely a little bit, spurgy with the social interactions and whatnot. But like she and I developed a rapport, and we started working really well together. And they fucking surprised her in the same way. Big ambush, cut her loose, and I was like, what the fuck? She hit me up for months afterward asking for help finding a job, and I was like, I'm doing my own thing. I'm sorry, can't hire you. I don't know right now. I'm disconnected. So that was around everyone was losing jobs and stuff.
You ever think about what the company parties at NVIDIA must be like?
That's just the one that I was
the biggest weirdos that have ever lived, like the craziest programmers on the planet Earth, just all together, like probably the most socially awkward people to ever live.
That whole story I told about GDC, where we went to the party where they hired models and there was no beefcake, was an NVIDIA party.
Yep.
It was literally an NVIDIA party.
I mean, I go to my wife's work parties, and she works for BAE, and there's a lot of like literal rocket scientists and like insane engineers and like super smart people that work for them, and it's definitely like that. Like you just kind of look around and you're like, this is a very weird group of people to be at this like really nice hotel in downtown Denver at kind of like a high-end event. But
so I talked a little bit about Marathon. I can't say anything else, but as soon as I can, I will, and I'll tell you guys my thoughts on it. It seems Tony was telling me that there are already some leaks going on Reddit, or like out there on the internet. People are violating their NDAs and talking about shit that they shouldn't be talking about, according to how you would get an entitlement and be able to play the tech test. I will say that they extended the tech test. I know that's public information. They tweeted about it. I think it runs for another day now, but it was supposed to end yesterday, so I think it's continuing until tomorrow. So they did a full week for it. I will also say, and I'll let you guys jump to your own conclusions on this, so they extended the tech test by a couple of days. When I got an entitlement for it, I did not go and sign up again. I just got a random email entitlement for it. So
I did sign up and never got in.
Draw your own conclusions about what any of that means. And then as soon as I can talk about it, I'll tell you guys what I think that means.
We're kind of talking about your theories, and you thought that they were going to continue to be quiet after this ends. You don't think that as soon as it ends, they'll start saying stuff?
Yep. I think they're going to stay quiet. They're not going to say anything. I think they're going to keep to a specific launch date. They're going to let the ship go out onto the rough waters and see how it does. Speaking broadly, I think I'm concerned that Escape from Tarkov hits 1.0 next month, so it'll have a full release. Escape from Tarkov has a lot of offerings. We'll see what Battlestate can actually deliver on, because sometimes Battlestate doesn't keep their word on what they're going to ship. Then the other thing is Arc Raiders, firmly set in the same price point. Obviously has an incredibly positive reception, and people are very excited about Arc Raiders. It just went live, didn't it? Or it's going live this week?
Tomorrow. 16 hours.
Yep. So yeah. So that's going to come out. And I think Marathon, they were saying, would launch. This was like the Sony president in financial meeting or something, or the CFO was saying that Marathon was going to launch sometime in March, potentially. I don't know if that's still the case, and I'm just going off the public statement here. So if that's going to be where it's at, they're behind Arc Raiders. Probably good to not release in the same time frame because we're still talking a few months left. But as we know, like, it's highly likely what I played is set in stone, and it's not going to be able to change because they have to polish, fix stuff up, clean up bugs, add some things that are probably already in flight but unfinished. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff put into Marathon, but it's
Arc
not
Raiders
gonna...
is probably potentially good for them if the spacing is right. Just because it'll get more people interested in the game like that, and then I can imagine they might be out of content by the time Marathon drops. So
yeah, that's a very real possibility.
While we're on the topic of it, I meant to throw this in our thing and I didn't, but there was this story going around about how the lead guy of the dev team here, are they Embark? Yeah. So the leader guy of Embark was doing an interview, and he basically said that they had tech where they can take a video of a gun and put it through this AI process, and it'll give them a 3D model of the gun, like in a couple of seconds. And then they followed up with a second remark about how they're not using it in the game right now. But my understanding of it after looking into it a little bit is that they can take a video and run some sort of like flat to 3D process on it and kind of make like a nerf or like a 3D scan of a video, which is technology that kind of already exists. And they can use that to get like a rough 3D model off of a video of a gun, basically, and then kind of use that as the basis to start building on. So that's pretty interesting.
Hell yeah. LFQ says quiet right now is probably the best thing they can do. Yeah, I agree. Uploading to Google Drive, I'll drop you a link as soon as it's done. So
yeah, guys, shout out to Turning Cog. I was kind of just complaining to him about how I couldn't really find any nice looking outdoor lights for the houses in our neighborhood. The pack that we were using came with one. It is not performant. It looks really bad. It has no controls or options or anything. And I went looking around on Fab and online, and it was really hard to find stuff that just kind of looked like shit you would buy at Home Depot that you would put on your house that would be in the neighborhood in 2025. And again, I was just kind of talking to him about this. He's really good at telling me where good assets are. So I asked him if he knew where any were, and he said no. And he said he's run into this problem as well. And so I guess he's making a bunch, and he's been sending me some kind of progress updates, and he was streaming the other day, and I popped in there for a minute, and they look awesome. And he's claiming he's going to send them over today. So we'll probably look at those on the stream tomorrow, and maybe try to put those on the houses and get stuff looking a little nicer. So huge shout out to him, and really, really appreciate that, because like we were just saying, we have no art champion right now, and some of the stuff he's doing is definitely outside of my area of expertise. So
thank you, Turning Cock. We'll definitely credit you the way you want to be credited as well. So you'll be in a shipped title, whatever you want. As we get closer to credit stuff, I'm gonna ping the Discord. I will talk to people in chat. We're probably, I'm guessing, about a month away from that whole cycle of making sure everyone's credited appropriately. Anna says it's so weird to see Bungie falling like this, because as a player I put a lot of time and love into Destiny games, but with all the weird shit I hear, it just feels right. Bittersweet, really. Always thinking about the devs as well. Yeah, Anna, that's the weird thing for me, is like I don't have positive feelings about a lot of people there, but there are some people that I really respect, I really count as friends, and I love what they do as creatives and as game devs, and it hurts to see them in this situation, but at the same time, like, they're in it. It's out of their control. They can really just try to make the best thing possible and hope that the people above them make good choices. So that's really tough. I don't want to see them fail, but I do want to see the shitters get what they deserve for making bad choices. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to work that way. I think they all got their payout, and they got their pound of flesh, and it's the constant story in the games industry is that the people who are really passionate and care suffer the most and get the least gain. And that's the reality of it. And it fucking sucks. Turning Cog says there are 4 lights. I'm very familiar with that reference. Picard will never break. There are always 4 fucking lights, dude. Do you remember that, Tony? Did I send you that shit?
It almost kind of sounds familiar. It just reminds me of the 2 dots from Rick and Morty.
So he's Captain Picard is on like a covert ops mission. He's pretending to be someone else to infiltrate the Dominion, the Cardassian Empire, and he gets captured and interrogated. And they don't know where he is. And Starfleet Command is like, Picard knew the risks. We need to leave him there. And the crew of the Enterprise says, fuck that. And they go and save him. But as he's being interrogated, the Cardassian interrogator is attempting to break his mind and his spirit to get secrets of the Federation. And he has this display with 4 lights on it, 4 lights. And then he keeps telling him there are 3 lights. It's almost like cells within cells interlinked, that kind of a thing. And he's like, now just tell me, Jean-Luc, how many lights are there? And he's like, Patrick Stewart does this fucking moment. He's got like tears in his eyes. He looks all haggard and he's like, there are 4 lights. And then like they pulled his fingernails off and shit. And he just screams it in his fucking face. And then the dude leaves and Picard's just alone in the darkness. He's about to fucking break. And he's about to say there's 3 lights, hoping they'll come back in and let him out of prison and all this and do whatever. And the crew's there and they fucking save him. And you're like, yes, dude. Star Trek is so good. Yeah, Hellcat, the Kardashian Empire. They got all those fucking booty cheeks and stuff. In regard to 3D stuff, I like for my work, a lot of the electrical components I work with, like transformers, VSDs, have 3D renders fully downloadable from the different brands. Nice, LFQ. That's cool. I think if we need something like that, I'll try to keep that in mind and hit you up. If we're ever talking about that, we need like electrical components or, like transformers or, power stations and shit like that. Don't forget to remind us, be like, hey, I can send you guys this or a link or something, and we can go find some stuff. They all got their huge garages with big cars. And unfortunately, I don't think that's even the case. I think some people went from like really good job with good pay to, okay, I could potentially retire now. And then other people got massive house, compound with car collections and shit like that. So there's a very small group. I want to say Chris Barrett was one of the people who got pushed out because of all the scandals. He sued Bungie saying that he was supposed to be compensated, but they cut him before stock vesting, so he couldn't get his options, which would amount to something like $50 million. So he sued them for that amount. And I'm pretty sure in the public record of that court case, they were like, dude, you got fired for being a fucking gross person and potentially committed some crimes. So you get nothing. This is fully justified. Get the fuck out of here. So I think that's how it went down for some of those people. Personal story that I know from a person in IT, I've told you guys this before on stream, was that Barry used to open IT help desk tickets to pick up his dry cleaning and like get him lunch and shit like that. And they were like, hey man, respectfully, like that's outside of my job. I'm not going to do that. And I can't do that. And he went to their boss and said, don't you know who I am? Don't you know I could fire all of you right now? I'm that important. And he tried to like flex and do all this shit. And they were like, dude, shut the fuck up. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not even in the least surprised. And the crazy thing is like, I don't even know. Like I could speculate on how that dude got into his position, but it's fucking crazy. There's so many personalities like that. That's why I was saying I don't have any love lost, like there are certain people that I'm like, these people are just fucking shitheads. They don't care about good work. They care about interoffice politics. They care about personal political views and perspectives. They focus so much on not making a good game. That's why they're in the position they are now. That's why Destiny fucking sucks now. That's why it's been bad for the last 5 or 6 years. That's why, Marathon is very troubled. That's why they sold to Sony. Like all of that shit. There was speculation back in the day that now that Activision's gone and Bungie's, independent again, they're off the yoke of the horrible capitalist, big, terrible company run by Bobby Kotick. No, man, it was fucking Bungie. They were doing it the whole time. They were fucking doing it the whole time. Activision gave them so much leeway. They could do whatever the fuck they wanted. It was crazy. So they, for whatever reason, they just had really good PR. They had people who cared a lot and were able to deflect and keep the message positive about the studio. But they can't do that anymore. So it's all bad. Power gets into people's heads. Yeah. Again, I've said it before on stream, but there's some of the weirdest personalities I interacted with were these people who are like, don't you know who I am? I made a Halo. I'm famous. And it's like, dog, you're not famous. Nobody fucking knows who Bungie is. They know John Halo, and that's not even correct. That's John 117 Master Chief. Like, they don't fucking know any of that. That's just not how it works. So they'd be like, oh, well, I know these celebrities. These are my friends. And I'm like, they're not your fucking friends, man. It's all business. You're in there with your fake friends thinking you're a A-list celebrity, and you're really like not even a fucking D-list. You're like, you're not even a part of the big crew. Sure, you got some money, but why do you even care about any of that? It doesn't fucking matter. It's crazy. Bro, every time I ship a game, I want a college football level tunnel run out with a band or you have people cheering. Yeah, totally, dude. Nah, I feel that. We do it for the love of the game, Matter. That's why, bro. It's the love of the game. It's a very fun job. And when I say that, a lot of the time it's not fun. And it really, really hurts when you make a misstep and you make something bad and people talk shit about you, call you lazy, whatever. It hurts. But when you make something good, you are like a god. And people put you on this fucking pedestal that is also undue. You know? So it's very binary. You're either garbage and you should shut the fuck up and get out of the business, or you are a god who's made something that has, you know, irreversibly impacted people's lives in the way that they think about stuff. It's so weird how it's just one or the other. The majority of devs live somewhere in the middle in obscurity. Nobody knows who they are. They'll never know who they are. Yeah, it's wild. I like this, Tony. That we might have to put a very serious. Actually, we probably do need to put an epilepsy warning based on some of the strobing effects I want to do with the fractal and shit. Yeah, we'll probably need to be putting that up there to be like, hey guys, we got some sequences of flashing lights that might be dangerous. Extra points for my name omitted from the credits in a post-release patch. Yeah, dude. Exactly, Adder. Unfortunately, I see all that kind of weird behavior all the time in work. People get a little bit of power and go batshit crazy. Yeah, I don't understand it, Anna. I think, so this is weird. Follow me if you guys will. You know, I'd be saying some contentious shit that I'm coming from a good place here. I think that there are certain types of people who are meant to be leaders and they understand the burden of leadership, and that being a leader isn't about being the boss and telling people what to do. It's about guiding a cooperative of unified effort towards a goal that one could never achieve on their own. It's not about being in charge. And the other people who are followers, which is the majority of people, there's nothing wrong with that. A leader is nothing without followers, and followers are nothing without a leader. The larger group of followers, when they get into positions of power, they see that, oh, now I can fucking wield the sword, right? And it's like, that's not what it's about. It's not about that. We have these, you know, stories in popular culture of like the, you know, the reluctant king or whatever, right? It's always like the person who's like, I don't want to be king. I don't want to be leader. I don't want to be that. And they're like, that's exactly why you should be. That's the right mentality. The person who's the natural leader should be in the position of power, because they're not going to act in the self-interest. And I think that's the problem, is that a follower will act in self-interest because that's kind of the follower's role. There's like a healthy conflict between a leader and a follower oftentimes. Blind devotion isn't necessarily a good thing either. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like this weird thing I think about sometimes. For the love of doesn't pay bills. I heard that all the time while working as a teacher. That is true, but there's always a healthy balance. I think if anything, if you guys think about like D&D alignments or something like that, I'm probably like a neutral aligned, like chaotic neutral type of a person. I'm in the middle, and it's because I know dogma doesn't serve, and neither does pure chaos and evil, right? Like, you have to be somewhere in the middle. Sometimes rules really matter, and sometimes rules need to be broken. So yeah, it's all context and it's all moderation. Adder says, I had my name omitted from the CODs I worked on after I left Activision, then added back in the special thanks on a couple. Can't remove my name from the cooked NPC name randomizer, though. Nice, dude. Yeah, get in there. If I was King Margarine, would be outlawed more places than Wisconsin. What do you have against margarine, bro? I like Fabio. I can't believe it's not butter. It tastes good. I'll say that. And I feel like we have a lot of slop enjoyers, you know, as humans in Western civilization. It's bullshit. It's not butter. I mean, I do prefer butter for sure. Oh yeah, I got my blood labs back. I'm good on everything except for like my liver seems to be a bit grumpy. I have a little too much sugar and a little too much cholesterol, but I'm not in the danger zone. Just a little high on some things. So I'm going to stay the course and keep doing what I'm doing because it's working, I guess.
Hell is this flickering?
Does it go away when you stop moving? Nope.
Nope.
I don't know, bro. It's weird as fuck.
Does it do it here? See, it's not even doing it. I'm just chilling. Is it this collider that's making it upset? That box cut now. This one's still doing it, kind of. Yep.
Adder says me and Brightside a little high too, but that's okay. What's the context for that? Like, why are you guys a little too high?
You said your blood was like a little high on some stuff.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
At the time, I almost said, yeah, you and me both, brother. But
yeah, my sober October is almost at an end, guys. I'm excited for Saturday.
Your Niagara fixed bound's too small. That's a thought. I think my fixed bounds are gonna be half my grid size, which is 1,000 by 1,000. It shouldn't be. Like, admittedly, I just kind of stole this directly from that project we were just looking at where I was working fine. And I have other projects where I've definitely used this many times. It's like, I don't know what it would even be. That's very strange.
Did you remember to tune up the graphics on level 3? I'm just fucking around, dude. That's not a useful comment. Hellcat says, is it GPU Niagara?
Yeah, no, I already read that.
Okay, cool. Anna says, my whole working life is about for the love of working as a teacher in poor areas and now our national free health system, education and health, the profitable sectors. Yeah, no, I hear you, Anna. I read your other comment about I wish we could all work on what we love and don't have to worry about bills and working towards this now, a good middle ground. I mean, I think that's why Gene Roddenberry had this concept of like abolition of currency in the Federation. When the hierarchy of needs is met, trade doesn't need to happen because everyone can get whatever they need in that moment. And culture is what fixed, excess and greed, the tenets of the Federation, right? Like, I see where he's going. I think that would be sick. But even in Roddenberry's Star Trek lore, that was a huge war. There was a lot of violence that occurred to bring about that change. So I think even if we can get to that point where we could abolish currency, we don't know that it would be a smooth transition. It would just be bad. Not the Trade Federation. The Starfleet Federation. Federation of Planets. That's it.
Maybe I just need to fix bounds on this.
I did see the Neo household robot. I'm skeptical of the Chinese robots though. They don't look so good.
All right, Hellcat gets a cookie because that was technically the problem.
Nice, good job, Hellcat.
It's supposed to be on fixed bounds. I feel like it was in the other project, but when I brought it over, I feel like maybe it got turned off of fixed bounds. But as soon as I turned it back, that fixed it. So you're right. Good job.
Hellcat, is your name a car reference, or is it a reference to like some D&D supernatural creature type shit?
While you're waiting for that, you said Neo, and it reminded me. Did you see the story about how the Wachowskis said that they always wanted Kojima to make a Matrix game, but Konami turned them down, and then Kojima heard about it and said, "Nobody ever told me that."
Yep.
That's pretty sad.
Yo, World War II airplane is a great reference too. I think I asked you that first time you were in chat because yeah. I'm glad it's not a Hellcat Charger or Challenger reference. The Grumman F6F Hellcat. Fuck yeah, dude. I think, didn't the Hellcat do more than the Mustang, but the P-51 was like more well known? I feel like the Hellcat was used more. You probably know as the eponymous Hellcat 22. Yeah, Adder, if it could fold laundry. I mean, I feel like there's probably like how has no one like really solved folding laundry where you just dump all your shit into a bin and it sorts it and folds it for you? Like, why do we not have that? That's kind of crazy.
I think it's like one of the most complex like 3D math problems that humanity has got to figure out, honestly.
Yeah, because they're all different sizes and shit.
All different sizes, shapes, got to be folded in certain ways, and I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, you're good, Hellcat. I chose the name Viper Zero when I was 13, so yeah, it doesn't mean anything either. I just thought Viper was cool, and I thought Zero was cool, and I couldn't get either name on AOL Messenger, so I got both and put them together and put a little Y in there, and that's what I've been. I wasn't that forever. I had a bunch of different names, and you know, I want to say, I think when I started playing Halo, I was like, I'm going, or no, it was competitive CS. I was like, I'm going back to Viper Zero, and then it just kind of stuck, and I was like, this is me. That's who I am. So I guess technically I've been Viper Zero since I was like 17, 18, but yeah, I came up with the name when I was 13. Hey, dude, yeah, it's super edgy when you're a 13-year-old. What do you mean? Playing MechWarrior online and shit, like, it's fucking crazy, dude. There was a Air Warrior 3, I think it was also playable. And MechWarrior, not MechWarrior Online. It might have just been called MechWarrior. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Adder? Like the really old ass AOL one that you could play for free. I mean, if you want to call it weird, LFQ, you're entitled. You've contributed a ton to the channel, so I know that you don't mean it in any significant manner. But yeah, I like LFQ, man. I think it's LFQ so on. Like, you know, you're so on. I like it better than LFQ soon. All right, yeah, well, that one that came on disc in the PC Gamer Mags. Yeah, 3 levels or whatever were free. Played those a million times. Yeah, so did I, Adder. Is it time, Tony? We got to wrap it up.
It's time. Yep.
Better wrap that gavel up, B.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we're gonna keep going on Dread. You'll see more Dread tomorrow. That'll be the official end of the 1-month challenge for making Dread. Obviously, we didn't make it, but Dread's gonna be all the better for it. We're gonna keep working into November on Dread. I would assume by the end of November, we're probably gonna be in pretty good shape to ship shape, as it were.
Stevie, if you're still around, you need to maybe come talk to us about Steam store page sometime.
Oh yeah, please.
I think we could use your help. So
yeah, definitely, please. Yeah. Brightside too, because I know you just went through that. You've done it more than once, so yeah. If you guys want to give us some time, that'd be awesome. Because store page is probably something we need to set up in like 2 weeks, maybe a week. That'd be my guess. Nice. I'll try to be here. Hell yeah, Anna. Thank you. I love when you're here. I'm glad that your life is slowing down a little bit so you can spend more time with us, because I'm selfish in that regard. But yeah, no, it's great having you around. I love the conversation. I'm excited to share my writing with you, but I'm also worried that you're gonna be like, yeah, this is good. But I'm not that worried, because I've had a lot of people say very positive things to me about my writing throughout my life. So I know what it needs to get to be fit for public consumption. So I'll dress it up a bit and make it better. Yeah, take it easy, LFQ. Thank you for coming through. Turning Cog, thank you so much. Thank you for giving us some lamps. You love the conversations here? Hell yeah, Anna. I love them too. They're great. Hellcat, thank you so much for the nanite shout out. Adder, as always, for the war stories about the industry. Omni for coming through and talking about Adventure Time. Who else did I miss? Fuck, I'm missing a lot of. Brightside, boom with the first today. Brightside with the revocation of first, because he broke a rule that he didn't know existed that we made today. But Brightside for being the GOAT, very supportive as well. Ramblin for doing all of our awesome graphic design, fucking badass over there. And anyone else who's lurking, thank you guys for coming through and hanging out and chat and listening to me yap and watching Tony build some spaghetti. Yeah, it's good stuff. We will see you guys tomorrow. We are live 2 to 4 Mountain Time. So we will see you tomorrow for more Dread Dev.
You guys have any people you want us to raid before we shut it down?
Yeah, good call. We're not going to change the rules, Brightside. That's the rule now.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to start competing for like the millisecond that the stream goes live. That's how the bot's going to do it. So it's going to be a
turning cog with the preemptive highlighted text first. I love it.
Boom with the benevolence. I will allow Brightside to be first tomorrow.
The benevolent kitty cat strikes again. Got the zoomies and the Beppis out already, so Boom's in a positive sharing mood. I love it.
Boom, I was looking for some Unreal shit on YouTube yesterday, and one of your videos actually ended up coming up in the query. Made me laugh.
All right, sweet. I think that's all we got. We're gonna go, end the stream, and we're gonna go keep working on Dread. If just one last call, if you guys got anyone we should raid, otherwise we will see y'all tomorrow. Nice. We got the trees in chat. Love the trees. Love the chat. You guys are wonderful. It's been super awesome meeting all of you. Sweet. I think that's it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're gonna end it. No raid.